This video is an overview of the site survey document, which is going to take on several different phases, but this is the most current version. Alafia is here. Mike is our site survey designer. Hi, Mike. When you get the document, it's broken up into 5 tabs. First of all, as you know, all the data that's in here is sample data. The first piece we're going to talk about is the WAN component. This section right here is the section that is pertaining to the hospital. So of course this is sample data, so you want to replace the data in there with the real data for the information of the location that you're currently at. You also want to make sure that you get a nice clear picture of the hospital. Just to give you an overview, we've never been to this location, so we need to get a digital and a mental picture of what we're working with as we roll out the new equipment and redo the wiring at these facilities. This first section here is broken up into 4 different sections. The first section is the WAN component. Basically, we need to know what type of router. We don't need to know serial numbers, and you don't need to go into the router and get username and passwords. Just basically what type of existing router that's currently in the facility. This one right here is the network switches. There really are not switches. They're probably hubs, maybe a 24 port, 48 port. You may see a combination of 8 port, 10 ports, 5 ports, but you get the point. Basically, I need to know the make and the model and how many ports are currently on that device. Scroll down just a little bit. The next section is the server or servers. Typically, these hospitals are going to have one particular server. If it is a clone server or something that's made in-house, just try and grab as much information on that box as possible. If not, if it's a Dell TZ140, of course you would put, Dell TZ640. And the location, is it in the hallway? Is it under the manager's desk? Is it hanging in the ceiling on a rack? You get the point. If you have any pertinent information, or if they have any pertinent information, that will be helpful. Now, how much memory? What's the hard drive capacity? We don't need to log in to get that information. That's only if they know that. If they know it, great. If they don't, it's not a major challenge. Next section is going to be the UPS. We want to see how many UPS units, or the type, the make and model of the UPS unit on the server. If they have multiple units, of course you can just go here, right click, insert, and actually put another section in there. The printer piece. Basically, we need a list of all the printers, whether they're a multi-fax, scanner, copier. Same philosophy. Give me the make, give me the model, let us know where it's at. If there's any special nodes on it, and then of course this section will fill out once we get back in. The most important piece is the desktop laptops and thin clients. These hospitals are going to have an array of configurations. They're either going to have a desktop, Optiplex 780, 960, XE, or they're going to have a laptop, whether it's Inspiron, Latitude, or Precision, which are Dell products. They could have a compact AMD. They could have a HP system. Just want to get the making the models. We don't need anything special. And then we also need to list the locations of where these devices are. The last and final section in the inventory is any specialized equipment. Now, you may need some assistance from the account manager or the office manager or the charge nurse or the individual that is your point of contact on this particular visit. You just want to see what kind of equipment they have in there, X-ray, labs, MRI type of items, and we want to make sure that we list these in the specialized medical equipment section. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for this particular portion here, but this is a very important piece, so make sure that you understand this process. This is the wish list, and it literally is what it is. You want to talk to the individual, your point of contact, and ask them what is it that you need in this facility to make you a better facility. And then you're also going to use your knowledge in the computer realm, and if you notice that there are some machines that are fairly old or damaged or just basically need to be repaired, we want to list these items on that list, on this wish list, and then either Aaron or myself or Alafia will follow up with the point of contact, and we'll discuss these items a little bit further before we actually go out and acquire them. The Photos tab. This is probably one of the most important tabs outside of the inventory, because this is going to give the help desk the capability to get a better understanding of the infrastructure or in the network topology. So basically each one of these sections is the first column here is the before, this is the after. Now because this is the site survey, we have another video explaining the after, but we have a couple of sample photos in here as well. But basically we just need to get a picture of the server, and behind, if you go through and delete the sample, it tells you what we're looking for. Very self-explanatory. If you don't have the time or if you don't have a laptop, you just want to make sure that you have a list of all these items, and you can just scroll down. Make sure you have a list of all these items and areas, and take those pictures. Make sure the pictures are very clear. Want to get a picture of the switch or the hub as close as possible. Sometimes they are mounted on the wall. This particular picture happens to be upside down, so we had to get down under there so we can see what was going on there. We want to get pictures of the exam rooms and the surgery rooms, but we want to make sure we can also see the actual equipment that is on the wall. So there's the desktop, there's the monitor, there's the keyboard, and it gives us a general idea of that particular area or that environment. This particular x-ray machine, there's not a computer in there, but we want to see what the x-ray area looks like as well. This is exam room 1, and this document is going to change to show exam room 1, exam room 2, exam room 3, and exam room 4. That way you can put the pictures in that particular order. This particular document here does not have exam 1, it just has the one exam, but the document that you're actually going to receive in the ticket has already been revised and uploaded to the server. This is the pharmacy area. Once again, you want to stand back and get a horizontal view of the pictures so we can get a good understanding of what's going on. If they have a morgue, once again, take a picture as wide as an angle as possible. This is the kennel. Didn't have a computer in there, but we still, once again, want to get a general idea of what that area looks like. Patch panel, and the final piece that's most important is the ceiling path. Because we're going to be pulling out all of the wiring and rerunning new wiring, we want to try and use any existing paths that are already in there. So if there are J hooks in there, we need to see if we're able to use those. If not, on the next tab we're going to talk about it, we're going to need to know how many J hooks are required. Once again, we're going to try and pull out as much cable as possible without any type of infrastructure change to the existing telephone lines that are probably flowing in there. You're going to run into situations where the conduits are just crammed in there, we can't use them, but the work that we put in here, we want it to be top notch. So if we can't use the existing paths, we just need to know a new path, and then we need to go in and hang those J hooks. I'm going to scroll back up here to the top, and then I'm going to scroll over here to the next section, which is additional photos. The purpose of additional photos is so we can get a better idea and understanding of what we're doing from a wiring standpoint. To give you an example, there's a printer right here in this section. The reason we need this picture is because we need to figure out how to get the wiring on this side, because there's an entryway here. There's a couple of desktops over here. We need to see where the wiring is coming in here. So is the wiring going under the ground? Is the wiring just coming over and going down the drop and then coming inside this? Or is it just mounted on that back wall? Those are the things that we can't see, but we must know in order to actually order the proper material and make sure we'll be able to support them long term. So you can give us a couple of different shots. That's the inside of the actual front desk. Once again, this is just another slight angle of the hallway, which this one is showing the actual door. This is showing the back side of the planar touchscreen systems. And then this is the break room area. There's no computers, but this is the hallway coming up to an area that is the loft. And basically this is a renovated house that has been converted into an office space. This is important to see because if you can notice the types of ceilings, this is basically the roof. So we had to end up running raceways to get connections to the particular doctor's office, which it's important that we know if we have to run raceways, so when we go to order that equipment, we'll know how many feet we need to buy. Once again, typical L-shaped stairway, which we can see. This picture is not a good picture, just for the record. We would request that another picture come in, or that another picture is created. This is the manager's office, which is a prime example of how we had to run a raceway because they just had cords running around, so we mounted the raceway on the wall and plugged it in back here in the back. And that's pretty much it on the photos. So hopefully you got a fairly good understanding of what's required from the photos. And once again, you can text the photos in, or you can send them in via email. We're going to talk about the next tab, which is the materials list. After you went through and took an inventory, you looked at the space, you took the pictures, now you need to tell us what you need. And that is basically what this sheet is designed for. So we typically use Cat5 Plenium Blue 500-foot cable. Because you're in that facility, you know how long the hallways are, you need to give us an idea. We're going to need 3 boxes, 5 boxes, 10 boxes. Typical locations, we're looking at about 4 to 5 boxes. Also, Cat5 jacks. Just so you know, we are replacing all faceplates and replacing all data jacks and replacing all cable. So if we can't pull the cable, we're still going to use our new cable in those existing drops. So I need to know how many faceplate or how many data jacks are actually in the facility. I need to know how many wall plates need to be replaced, and then the quantity. Is it a single wall plate? Is it a dual wall plate? Is it a quad? Is it a six-face wall plate? And of course, the numbers here are, according. We need to know if we need to cut in, or if there's some extra drops that they want to use for a new printer. I need to know do we need a cutout box or a cut-in box that's going to be mounted. One of the things that we're doing is, when you're doing the floor plans, which we're going to talk about, if the buildings or the facilities are solid concrete, of course you can't fish concrete, so we need to know that, so we can use the cutout boxes, and those are the boxes that will be mounted on the exterior of that concrete wall, and of course we'll have it attached with raceways. Here's the raceways, and also these items, you don't want to change these, and the odds are the document you receive, they're locked, but you do have the capability to click on these items and actually see the actual equipment of what we're ordering. Last and not least, on the cabling, because we're going to be going inside of a rack, and inside of that rack, it's only a 20 by 20, I think, 20 inches, 19, 20 inches high. So we don't want to have a lot of cables just hanging out all in the front. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we either determine that we're going to need 6-inch patch cords or 4-inch patch cords, but the odds are we may send both, and then once the job is done, you guys would return them. The next tab is the new rack location. Basically, we are going to be relying on you and your expertise to tell us where we can potentially hang this 20 by 20 rack, whether it's in the manager's office or whether it's in the MDF or the wiring closet, or in the demarc location. We would prefer to keep the technology in the demarc location. Of course, we don't want to put it in a boiler room. We don't want to put it anywhere in a break room where there's water flowing, and then of course it needs to be in a position to where we can mount it on the wall. But this is a prime example. This is the manager's office. This was a very small facility. They didn't have a MDF or an IDF closet, so basically the server is on the floor here. Just put it up here, and as you can see, that's the finished product. Very, very clean. They buttoned up the cabling. The doctor was satisfied with the outcome of this particular location. I'm going to talk about the floor plan. This right here is the most critical piece because this is what you are giving us so we can create the digital footprint or the digital floor plan for this particular location. So the first thing we want to talk about is the legends over here. We want to keep it as simple as possible. We're going to have 3 different items here. Wherever there's a computer, there's probably a drop. So